Hi, in this video I'm going to encompass on how simple it is to set up a CCTV system on this case just a standard television. Okay, so let's look at the component parts in this system. Well, obviously we have our existing television here, and within the range of the CCTV security cameras, what we have is we have a mini dome high resolution 650 TVL camera here, really only for internal use. We have a power unit to power this camera, and then we have this phono, the BNC cable, along with this RCA, the SCART adapter, and we're going to use that for connecting the output from the camera directly into your television. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick up this camera, or this power lead here, and I'm just going to push it in, and now we've power into our power unit here, and you can see it here. Okay? So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to come along and I'm just going to look at the camera itself. Okay, so you can see the camera here, and at the back of the camera we have two outputs coming from this cable. The BNC here, the purpose of it is actually to carry the picture, and the 2.1mm socket here, the purpose of this is to take a DC power from this power unit here, which is just basically a 12 volt 1 amp, and feed it to this camera here. So a lot of the smaller cameras only need about 3 milliamps, but you can give it a higher amperage than it requires, it'll be fine, okay? So what we're going to do here is I'm just going to power the camera by simply pushing in the jack into the socket there. So now we actually have camera going, or we have power actually going here. So the next thing is to use this BNC to phono cable. So I'll just show you the BNC part here. So we have, again, male and female connection here, and we just twist it and rotate it like that. So now we've converted the BNC connector into a phono connector. Now what I'll just demonstrate to you here now is, I'll just hold up my hand first maybe. We can see here on one side we have the RCA inputs. Two of them are in relation to audio and one is in relation to video. So we put the phono lead in here into the video input. So we have a switch here, and we can decide to have it as an output or an input, but we're feeding it into a television, so we set it to input. And next what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to rotate this television around, and I'm just going to, here, I just kneel down for a minute, and we can see here, we can just line it up with the SCART connector here. Now I've already set this television to the AV input, but if we come along here, we're actually just going to see a picture of my roof, okay? So to look at something, I don't know if it'll be more scenic or not, I'm just going to grab the camera and I just focus it on myself. So what we have here is, you can see there's an up and a down, there's a certain way to angle these cameras, but you can see here we have things. So if you think about it, this is probably about the most basic camera we have in our range, but if you see the quality of the resolution, it's actually quite excellent. And if you see that how simple it is to set up, you know, you just take it out of the packet and within a few minutes you have it up and running. Now, this setup might be overly simple because very few people will actually have a camera right next to their television. So one additional piece we might often add into this kit would be something like this pre-terminated BNC and power lead. Now it's about 20 meters long, and on both ends what you have is you have both a power, 2.1mm either socket or jack, and also a BNC connector. So normally what you would do is you would have, we'll say, a camera a certain distance away from where the television is, and then what you're doing is you're using the BNC connection to run the picture back to the television, and you're using the power lead, the 2.1mm ports here, for actually running the 12 volt signal from there to the camera to power the camera. But once again, it's all pre-terminated, so it makes the actual installation of it extremely easy. And the only thing this is changing is the distance the camera is away from the television, but the actual setup is identical. So I'm just going to leave that video at that point. So the purpose is just to give you an overview of the basic parts it's made up, but also just to highlight just how simple it is to set this up and the type of picture quality, even with the most basic cameras that you can expect.